Here, on the edge of an evaporated lake bed, we can see the sky darken and feel the rain begin to fall around us. Countless Covenant vessels flank their excavation, desperately searching for the key to the Ark, carving away the earth, revealing the truth of humanity beneath. Welcome to Oddities, a show where we take a look at some of my favourite details, moments and minutiae in games. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and sit back as we explore together. Today we're here in the storm, the climax of Halo 3's first act. Forced from our hidey hole, we've regrouped to bring the fight to the Covenant in this burning industrial dock. From the first minute of gameplay, we can see how this terraforming of the lake has taken a chunk out of the architecture, as if it was teleported away in an instant, leaving the rest to dangle over the new ravine. We've come out of a tunnel here, preferable over what's left of the highway. It looks like it used to run around the rim of the lake, offering great views of the water and city beyond. From our research, it turns out there's no such lake near Voy in the real world. We could chalk it up to cool level design, or we could assume it was a man-made lake, allowing for easier transport of goods and access to a huge amount of fresh water, which would probably increase the population of surrounding towns and settlements, bringing new skills, trades and money. It's clear then how places like New Mombasa became economical centres in this future timeline, a focus placed on transforming the land to allow for growth. There's always a cost to that though. I wonder if people were displaced by this lake project. Whatever it looked like, every single drop of water has been evaporated by the Covenant's great beams of energy. We can find a truck here, sporting the Synoviet company's logo. We visited their office building in the New Alexandria video. There we learned they produce many of the UNSC's ships, so I'm sure they would have their hands in trade here. Kenya exports a great amount of titanium in the real world, and I'm sure that still holds true in the Halo universe. Titanium is used a ton in the manufacturing of aircraft, so it makes a great deal of sense that Synoviet would be here. It looks like we're here at Factory Complex 9, the building itself owned by Traxxas Heavy Industries. With the car park being empty, we can assume an evacuation was successful from this part of the facility. I'm sure everyone scrambled the instant they saw the Covenant coming. Entering the building, we find ourselves in what looks like a transitional segment. Goods and materials were likely tugged through these halls. Above is something of a common area, or cafeteria. Chairs and benches strewn about. These workers were probably on Smoko when the Covenant attacked. On the screens here we can see details about pumps. I'm going to assume water pumps to control properties of the lake somehow. Maybe transporting drinking water, desalination, cooling, or raising and lowering the level to get a ship into dry dock. We can see the pumps themselves here, towering above us. You can imagine just how much water could run through these in an instant. Moving out into the next area, we can see it was a dock. An empty slot here, indicating just how big these ships would have been. If you ever want to feel small, I recommend visiting an industrial dock. The size of everything there, from cranes to shipping crates, just makes you feel minuscule. Dock workers certainly don't get enough appreciation for the work they do. There's a dinghy here, either to cart people out to ships or mount a rescue should someone fall in the lake. Now you'd have to worry more about breaking your legs than drowning. The lake bed itself is slick and squishes as we walk over it. It's probably just a layer of silt, not used to being exposed to open air. Near the dock we can find tons of discarded rubbish, rope and tools. With the lack of oysters we can infer that the lake was primarily freshwater. Probably home to all kinds of fish and eels. There are barnacles though. We can see some on this pipe here. Perhaps this huge intake led to the pumps inside. The design of each complex is somewhat standardized. This next one we find ourselves in is almost identical to the first. As we take the fight to the anti-air wraiths, we can get a good look at one of the ships that frequented this dock. Or half of one. Teetering on the edge of the cliff, it's been caught in the Covenant beams and the front fell off. It's not supposed to do that. This mission lulls you into such a false sense of security, this being one of the coolest fights in the game as we weave around plasma fire on our mongoose. Heroic music thumping in the background. The Marines hoot and holler, even while fighting the Scarab. This awesome boss fight, creating the ultimate power fantasy of being the Master Chief. As we fight, we can come across this tank, and inside another pump or turbine. I wonder if this was for refueling, protecting from spills with this outer layer. I know next to nothing about ships though, so this could be completely wrong. In this little medical area they set up, we can see countless dock workers being treated, and further on a radio. We can hear Miranda musing about a single Covenant ship that has slipped into the system. I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. This next segment seems to be a loading facility of some kind, likely sorting through all of the unloaded goods to be sent on their way upon trucks. With the workers running around, it's clear this section was not evacuated as successfully. The building is split by these huge gates. I wonder if this was for organisation, or more so security purposes. We can find one of the tugs I wondered about in Crow's Nest, ready to cart crates onto trucks. Out into the final area, we can see the path trucks take down into the loading bay before turning around and heading up the road. The rain falls harder now as the storm increases in intensity. You can almost feel the humidity juxtaposed with the dry land surrounding. In this little alley are some storage containers. It looks like excess stock is placed here during a delay so the main loading area can remain clear and efficient. There's this SAM turret here. It's hard to say if this is a permanent fixture or if it's been set up by the UNSC during the battle. If permanent, it indicates the military was aware this place would be a target of the Covenant or rebels. Though I'm sure they thought they would only seek to destroy supply lines, not unearth a Forerunner megastructure. Pushing up the hill, we take on the anti-air turret. Heroic music returning as we push the brutes back, spikes and plasma raining all around us. There's such a great sense of momentum in this segment, as the enemy AI naturally falls back to defend the turret. With that, a few well-placed shots and the battle is won. This is probably one of my favourite cutscenes, as the full might of the UNSC is brought down upon the Forerunner artifact. And for that one slim moment, you can feel that sense of victory. The Halo theme song bursting through in this moment of triumph. But of course, something arrives to take all that sense of hope away.
What is it? More brutes?
Worse.
Welcome to Floodgate. Our old nemesis returned for the first time in Halo 3. The level has been transformed, the sky now tinged in a sickly yellow light.
Make your way to the crash site.
Ash floats through the air alongside the spores that had been pouring out of the Covenant vessel. Music has fallen away, replaced with ambient groans, screams, and gunfire in the distance. We can see little inklings of them, fighting Marines across the ravine, and witness as they leap overhead. We can find a bit of our previous work here, a section of the anti-air gun having flown off and crashed into the loading dock. Hopefully no one was standing there. The colours of this mission are awesome. The green fog interspersed with these glowing embers, the huge portal above casting a blue shadow over it all. It makes the place feel a bit like a dream, or a nightmare. As we re-enter the loading area, now overrun, we can hear this heart-pounding beat in our ears. Chief is brave, but you can imagine the fear welling up inside, every corner filled with the Horde. These explosive containers weren't here before, their orange glow piercing through the fog. I wonder who had the time to set these up the instant the flood arrived. We can see now how the shipping containers set up in the previous mission can get us some high ground over the flood. On this one, we can see a sticker, probably denoting where it came from and where it's going. Good to see we're still using barcodes in the future. Approaching this hallway, we can see the bloom on this mission has been cranked, using light as well as shadow to conceal what comes next. A little reference to 343 Guilty Spark with the panicking Marine. His friends around him look very much uninfected. I wonder if they were actually turning, or if this guy ended them in a state of mania, now trying to convince himself he did the right thing. Is anyone going to tell him the Flood don't need their hosts to be alive? This next area is where we fought the Scarab. Now even more of the lake bed has fallen away, either with the shockwave from the portal opening, or the flood ship careening through the docks. The way the fog licks up the side of the cliff, almost plunging us into night, gives us such a cool visual. How quickly fire and smoke can transform a place, making somewhere we've already seen instantly unrecognizable. The heroics of the previous mission now replaced with a fight for survival. As we exit the complex, we're met with the great carcass of the cruiser, embedded within the silt. The way we came into the storm, crushed in the collision, it has fallen into pieces, jagged edges, burning with embers in an infernal image, a battle raging around its base, in a painterly representation of the hell that has come. Interesting that the flood, named for an unstoppable tide of water, now run around in the dry lake bed, a distinct lack of water its defining feature, twisting the knife of irony in a way, one dark depth replaced with another. Entering such depths, we're met with the inside of the flood hive, the ship itself now living on in death, just as the infected are. I like that we can see the Covenant architecture peeking through the flood mass, only just holding on to the semblance of what it once was. I wonder if this liquid was already here, or if it's related to the flood. Perhaps it's a coolant of some kind that used to keep the engines running. We've seen similar liquid in levels like Keys and Gravemind, so it's probably pooled here, leaking from a damaged pipe somewhere deep within the biomass. Deep groans permeate the infested halls, the ship clinging on to its structure, threatening to collapse at any second. I wonder if the flood hold the ship together somewhat, or if they're crushing it with the grip of their hive. I can't imagine all this extra weight keeps the ship very aerodynamic. Perhaps that's why they keep failing miserably at landing. And with that, we find Cortana's message, and glass this place until there's nothing left. The right port of call if there ever was one.
Thanks for watching. These two missions are a great end to the Earth segment of Halo 3, capping it with the return of the Flood, surprising us with new forms and tactics. I remember playing as a kid and almost forgetting the Flood existed for a minute, only for Floodgate to come along and remind me. As always, let us know in the comments if there's any games, moments, or particular details you'd like us to take a look at. Subscribe for more oddities, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.